Oh, what? Ah, I did not hit go live yet. I was still preparing this, but fine. Okay, that's how this is going to start. All right, and yeah, that's fitting, isn't it? There's the proof that I'm a pathetic loser. I have done this so many times before. This is one thing with my computer I thought I actually knew how to do, but I appear to have started streaming while I was still trying to set this up. Fuck. I feel fucking horrible about myself right now. And before anyone wants to jump to my defense and say, what happened? Did someone else do something? Nobody did anything to me. The thumbnail, the I am not an animal, I'm a human being. That's not that somebody else wasn't treating me like a human being. It's that's how part of me has been treating myself the past little while. Been working really hard the past couple days and just jumped into working hard all day today. Fucking, and I could. Fucking energy started running low, and I sat down to try to keep myself going with working, and just got overwhelming, just so embarrassing, everything I've done on this stupid fucking channel, and nothing changed, nothing went wrong, just fucking all inside of me. I'm in this fucking mixed state at the moment. There's one wheel still running on the manic. The manic energy's there, which was why I was trying to get some more fucking work done with it. But that's just feeding over the depressed side, making the shitty thoughts just start fucking flowing so hard and fast. And so one part of me just wanted to, is just hammering myself with embarrassment and shame so that I'll quit doing this. And another part of me wanted to keep working. And so then this was the compromise between all the nonsense inside of me was, fine, if I've got to feel this, I'll fucking feel it and I'll process it. But for the part of me that wanted to keep working, it said, just go live and do it, because I'm surprised that part of me that was fucking shitting all over me, it isn't shitting all over me for doing this, because it's getting a chance to talk and it wants to talk about how much I suck. So I'm going to let it for a bit here, and I'm not looking for help from anyone. I know how to get through this. I was fluctuating between get more work done and go take care of myself for a while. I know how to take care of myself. But I'm going to take, I'm going to do a little bit of that processing here online for those of you who go through this same thing. So I think I don't know if the description went up or not. But like I wrote in the description, I feel like a pathetic loser, but that's all right. I know why. I'm bipolar, and I've been working too hard, and I'm tired, and I haven't eaten in over a day. And I burned up a lot of manic energy, and that means there's going to be a dip later. So that's why I feel this way. Whereas in the past for myself or a lot of people I've worked with, what I observe is that when you're doing good and working hard, and then suddenly your mood crashes, and if you're not good at the mindfulness, so that you don't even notice it when it's first happening, instead of realizing that you're tired or cranky or you need a nap or a snack, you just start to listen to those thoughts. And so suddenly everything sucks and your project's worthless, and you start to debate, well, why am I feeling this way? If I'm feeling this way, I must have done something wrong. But it's not necessarily true. Not if you're someone like me. I didn't fuck anything up. Nothing went wrong. This is just what happens. So it's all right. That part of me can scream how fucking pathetic I am. And it can mock my attempts to serve others. It's clever. It's got lots of different frames through which I am clearly a pathetic loser. I'm some poor deluded madman that thinks he talks to angels and is publicly embarrassing himself on a regular basis. What a fucking loser. Also, the way I talk about working all day. I'm on fucking disability. This isn't a real job. And the way it just twists little shit. I messaged someone who didn't get back to me quickly. So part of my brain's going, you know, they realized you're a fucking loser, right? That's why they're not answering. You're never going to hear from them again. And that person has been nothing but kind to me, has given me every reason to think, even actually, that they admire me. So that darkness, I don't even like that metaphor, but that's the cultural metaphor, because darkness is also so beautiful. But whatever we're going to call it, that sour shit inside, it can take anything and make it seem horrible. So especially if you've been plugging away on something, if you've been putting out a lot of energy and suddenly you feel like shit about everything. Doesn't mean everything suddenly turned to shit. It means you're cranky or you're bipolar or something like that. Fucking see, I wish I'd had time to just finish preparing this fucking stream. I can't believe I didn't even do that right. I don't know how it went live. I didn't hit the go live button. So for me, this is just the cost of doing business. And fuck, I know that. See, the way it works for me, possibly for some of you out there, is when you're feeling up, when you're feeling energetic, and when you're aiming as high as you can. It's a swing where the more optimism you put into something for a while, it's just at some point that's going to swing around to the opposite. And it's, yeah, what I've noticed in myself is it's not the things that don't go well that are the worst on me. It's the things that go really well, get me excited. I put a ton of optimism and enthusiasm into that. And the more beautiful it looks with manic energy, the uglier it fucking is, and the more embarrassing it is when I come down. Oh, fuck. And so this is one of these moments, I guess, where I'm just going to come on here and display that it's okay to not be okay. That's what the ride's like for some of us. But I know I'm going to feel better later. And I know now's not the time to try to objectively reevaluate anything I'm doing or to make any decisions, except the decision to take care of myself. Oh, fuck, This is hard, and I was not ready to go live yet. I was trying to reset when it would go live, like when it would show. Hold on, I'm sorry. If you're watching, I'm not looking at the chat yet. If you're watching this and you're worried about me, don't worry. This is like a normal thing. Despite what it looks like, I'm fine. I know how to get through this. And this isn't going to last long. Either I'm going to cut this fucking... Wait, yeah. All right. I'm either going to cut this fucking stream off soon and go take care of myself, and don't worry, I'll be fine. Like, I could be much better in as little as 10 minutes once I center myself and call down some sacred energy and such. I can fix this pretty quick. If from there on I'm taking care of myself. Like, I can get the fucking fire out of this pain and get it down to a dull ache, and I can take care of this. And I'm going to take care of myself tonight. So I'm not doing this because I need help. This is okay. This is normal. I'm doing it because this is embarrassing, and it's something I go through on a regular basis and that some other people might benefit from seeing. And so now even I'm not asking for any healing yet. I'm just being present with the fucking pain, and I've been letting it express itself. Even there, some of the fucking sharpness is coming off the edge of the blade. It's dulling. So these weird fucking attacks we have, if you're someone like me, don't be judgmental of it as it's happening. As hard as it is, as embarrassing it is, if you live with people and whatnot and you suddenly have some little breakdown in front of people, don't fight whatever emotion it is you're feeling. It's okay. Be present with it, and like fighting it holds on to it longer. Just experience it. You can do it. You've been through it before. Fuck. And one of the problems is we frame this as so pathetic. My inner crybaby's calming down and letting someone else talk. That's the problem, is when we frame it as pathetic, or worse yet, unacceptable. It's not, you're not allowed to feel that. You're going to make it worse. It's okay. I know society looks down on depression, and society looks down on suicidal feelings. But for any of you who have been there, you know when you see someone else struggle through it, it's not pathetic, it's heroic. If people could see on the outside signs of the pain that some of us feel, it was the equivalent of when you see someone in an accident and you can see the damage to your body, and you watch someone like recovering in a hospital, all beaten and broken up. Like, we can see that as like heroic, struggling through that. But we flip the coin and do the opposite when it's internal, because no one else can see it. They look at you and they're like, you're fine. What are you blubbering about? And the pain is every bit as real. So remind yourself, you've been through it before. Look at it the same way you'd look at a UFC fighter that keeps getting in the ring and getting his head bashed. The way we're like, fuck, that's brave. Don't check out. Don't run away. Keep going into the ring with your depression. Keep going into the ring with your suicidal thoughts. Take your lumps. You can do it. You've done it before. And keep going. You'll be happy later. You'll be happy one day. Even if it's been 2 years. That's the longest I've ever been depressed straight is 2 years. Even that ended. Or for someone out there who's depressed and you're going to be depressed until you die, not because you've killed yourself, but because you're going to be depressed until your natural death comes. Ride it out. You can do it. And the angels will be impressed. You can get through this shit without cursing God. And you can learn to say, thank you, sir. May I have another? And you can say, fine, I'll walk my path no matter how long it is till the end. I can't prove it, but the deepest part of me knows. The universe makes it up to you eventually. So even if every breath you're going to breathe from here on out is going to feel like a burden, even if every beat of your heart's going to echo with depression, don't worry, this too shall pass. The Reaper's got our back. He's not going to leave any of us here forever. You ride it out, play the game the best of your ability. And eventually, I think you go home and they're proud of you. And the same with whatever fucking project you're doing. Also, if anyone watched this and worried at all, like, don't worry, this is natural. I go through this all the time dealing with the channel. I'm just doing it publicly this time. For some stupid fucking reason. Don't worry, I'm just tired. I haven't eaten and I've been working too hard. Trying to juggle a lot of balls right now. Now I'm going to take care of myself. It's not that late. I've got plenty of time to eat and gear myself down and get a good night's sleep. And I'll be all manic and productive tomorrow, I'm sure of it. And nothing's changed. It'll still be full steam ahead with as many of the balls as I can keep in the air. And I've let go of the outcome. I don't have to succeed with any of this. This can all fucking crash and burn, and I can go back to quietly living on disability. According to the angels, that's allowed. I just have to try. As long as I try my best, whatever happens isn't my responsibility anymore. I just have to do my best. And today, apparently, as pathetic as it is, this is my best, just to contribute this ridiculous content to the channel. Sorry, give me a second, and then I'm going to read the chat. Fuck me, how stupid was this idea? I've done 20 minutes of crying on camera. Fuck, that's stupid. All right, let's see what people have said. Gloff says, howdy. Howdy, Gloff. What part of me wanted to keep working? And Newsflash says it's a God problem. Everything's a God problem. Everything's God. So great point, Newsflash. Hi, Adela. I love you. Gloff, what part of me wanted to keep working? I'm calling it my worker, but it was mixed with fucking. What was it mixed with? It was mixed with like the apocalyptic midwife. So I don't know if I've talked about this before or not, but it relates to Ryan's frame. So I'll share this again if I've already shared it. During my last like really brutal breakdown, right before I posted my announcement about my divorce months back, what I noticed was that when I went through that breakdown, which I handled in a different way than ever before, and processed much more quickly than I realized was possible, I noticed that one subpersonality that I thought had died back when I got hit by the bus, which was really like a complete ego death and like a personal apocalypse. So I had thought that my worker subpersonality had died during that and not risen out of the ashes, whereas many other subpersonalities, Phoenix, they turned into ash and came out differently. I've got this subpersonality at the moment I'm just calling worker. And I realized I developed it doing farm work, working like doing moving and deliveries. I drove a truck delivering furniture and doing moving. And I developed it like working with trauma entertainment. So it's like the subpersonality that was the me at work up to my bus accident. And that it hadn't come alive ever after that again. I noticed during this last one, it came alive. I don't remember who I was talking to, but I was talking it through with someone, and I was really surprised I was noticing it there. But now that I look back on it, it happened like that subpersonality came to life shortly before I posted the video called something like, well, does anyone need to talk? Like, how are you handling the pandemic or something? So right before the angels called me to get to work, this worker subpersonality came back. And when it came back online, it was freaked out at first. It felt like a human being dumped in a fucking tiger cage. It was bewildered at first. Like, what the fuck is going on in here? It was nothing like this before. But it's adjusted to the fact that it now has to participate with freaks and carnival folk and monsters. And it's come online doing the channel. But one of the subpersonalities I didn't have before getting hit by the bus is the midwife of the apocalypse. And it appears that the apocalypse midwife and the worker are teaming up a lot lately. See, everyone, I'm fine. I'm fine already. Like, I've got this little ache inside. And part of me is really embarrassed at the beginning of this stream. But I'm all right. So, what the fuck was I saying? Right. So, the ones that wanted to keep working were the midwife of the apocalypse and the worker. I said all that from that little question. Whatever. Hi, Andrea. Thank you so much. I love you too. And see, look at that. Right as I look to read Andrea with the bangs wrote, feel better, Merc, sending love, heart. And look at that. I feel better. I was already feeling better as I read it. And now I feel even better because of that. Thank you. You're a sweet soul. Oh, Grizz is here. He saw me crying. Hi, Grizz. I'm terrible with other people's stuff. Try imagining the Pillsbury Doughboy poking you in the belly saying he is all I can think of. Did you learn nothing from fucking Ghostbusters? You want to end up with a giant Pillsbury Doughboy destroying everything inside of me? What the fuck's wrong with you? I'm glad you don't have a proton pack and aren't the one dealing with all those ghosts. Think of the Pillsbury Doughboy. Grit says it's dark. We only heard it. I'm not sure what quite that is, but thanks for letting me make fun of you about the Pillsbury Doughboy and comparing it to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Hey, Dan, don't worry about being late. This shit fucking doesn't wash off. This doesn't get stuck back in time. It moves forward through the magic of YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. So if you want to hear me crying and blubbering, you can go back and watch the beginning of this later. Chris says, do I ever go bowling with my angels? Nope. I bowled a little bit as a kid, but no, I've never had that association in my mind. That metaphor never meant anything to me before, but when the storm comes, that's when the angels bowl. Interesting. So Grizz is still sticking with Ray as his hero. Fair enough. I respect that loyalty. Grizz says we're going to have the music guy remix the first 3 minutes of this as a song. Well, fucking, I already told him he could sample anything that I posted, so I guess I've already given permission for that. I hope the music behind it's good. Although now you brought him up, how do you pronounce it? Because he's got that weird symbol in it. Is it 2 morvs or 2 mervs? What is that weird letter? I never asked him when I talked to him. I'd like to plug him now. Although, what a fucking stupid video to get a plug in. Never mind, I'll plug him some other day. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to associate this with his music. Remind me some other day to plug him once I know how to say the name. Dan says, I certainly have been blubbering a lot in my end. No worries there, brother. All right, then good. Good that I came on here and did this. Because, yeah, I know you've been having a rough time, man. And fuck it. This is heroic. Let's look at it that way. Remember the never-ending story? Treyu's trying to get art tracks, or what's his horse's name, through the swamp of sadness. When we read it in a book and we read it mythologically, we can see how heroic it is to try to cross something like the swamp of sadness when other people don't make it across. But then when we're experiencing the real thing, we treat it like it's pathetic. So I know you've been down in the fucking trenches lately, carrying some of this fucking spiritual and emotional burden for the world. So stay strong, stick it out. Don't go anywhere, don't give up. Don't even worry about doing anything good in the world. Just don't get resentful. It's like, don't do anything bad because of it. And just like, as much as I don't like, it's the only term coming to mind, and I wish it wasn't the term, but this is like, yeah, just like man up and take it. Like a punch to the face, where like, okay, this is going to hurt, but I'm not going to act out. I'm not going to start blaming other people for it, because that's such an impulse to do when you want to run away from the way you're pointing your finger at yourself, going, you suck, you suck, you suck. One of our okay, so this is something productive, like as an actual tip for people who are bipolar. Sometimes or I think normal people do this too, when you're going, you suck about something, and that hurts too much, you look for someone else you can blame it on. Like, wait a minute, so-and-so was supposed to help me with that. If they'd been there, I wouldn't have fucked that up. And then we turn it all outwards. And we try to get away from our pain by blaming it on the world. Or then it's, it's the school's fault. It's the system's fault. It's my parents' fault. Don't do that shit. That just goes toxic. Everyone's doing their best. Yes, people hurt us, but it's not our responsibility to change them. That's our task set before us by God. That's our particular cross to bear. And I'm not saying you don't set proper boundaries and everything, but I'm saying when dealing with our emotions, don't turn it out and blame other people. Because if they're really behaving that badly, then they're unenlightened. We should have compassion and sympathy for them, and we should be understanding with them the way we are with toddlers. others. We know better than that. So we won't turn it against anyone else. We won't become resentful. And we can do that because we're strong enough to just bear it. We don't have to run away. Like, fine, suicidal. All right, I can do that. And I'm not going to break anything. And I've done this for long enough where I can get to like this nonsense today, where I can even, during suicidal periods, do small bits of good or something in my mind that I consider good. I can try a little bit on something. I can maybe wash a plate, or I can be there for a friend. But don't start by putting any of that pressure on yourself if you're not there yet, especially if you're blaming others or if you're acting out and throwing tantrums. Start by just do no harm first. See if you can just get to where you can suffer without hurting others. And then try not to hurt yourself unnecessarily. So for instance, all those thoughts I was going with, even as I was voicing them, to survive, I've had to learn to basically be mindful that whole time. Or all the time. So the entire part of this, there was a mindful part of me that could have stepped in and taken that crybaby off the throne so that that wouldn't be going out. The deep part of me thought somebody might need that and was allowing that to vent. And what I don't know if I demonstrated it properly, but what I was trying to show was that I'm dealing with a flood of negative thoughts where I'm not confused. I know they're not me. I'm not those thoughts. And I also know that they're not like objectively omniscient. So I let it pass like weather. I deal with it. I counter it. I don't go along. And the other way you can hurt yourself is you can go with it. You can latch on to one of those. Fuck yeah, it's embarrassing that you cry. And you can start giving all the reasons that's embarrassing. Men don't do that. This person would, laugh at you. And you can start envisioning all the people laughing at you for crying on YouTube. That's you adding it to it. And that's you just picking the wound and making it worse. So you try to just get to neutral. You're not going to hurt anyone, and you're not going to make it worse. And just to step back from it like a storm, but to allow the thunderstorm to occur. When you practice that for a long time, you can get to where the storm's active and you've enlarged yourself. So you haven't tried to diminish the storm. You haven't pushed it away. Your deeper awareness learns to climb a mountain and find a place inside yourself that's beyond the depression that's there and still visible. And then you can have a different experience there as well. So it is, weird as it sounds, it's possible to be suicidally depressed and to have expanded yourself large enough that another part of your consciousness is simultaneously having a joyous experience, and where the gestalt of you is at peace, where the deep inner awareness is at peace with whatever's going on. Also, that's the thing I dealt with differently during my last major breakdown, is I didn't try to run away from suicidalness. Like, to me, being suicidal isn't killing yourself. Killing yourself is running away from the state of being suicidal. And so during my last breakdown a few months ago, instead of, well, first of all, obviously I didn't kill myself, so I didn't run away that direction. But also I realized how much every other time I was dealing with suicide, I was actively trying to get away from it the other direction. I was trying to feel better. Even when I'd learned to be present with it, to learn from it and such, which I talked about before my most recent breakdown, I hadn't learned, how do I put this into words? This last time I had a breakdown, I didn't try to make suicidal go away. I have a subpersonality that I call the screaming suicides. It manifests like looking like a demon. I didn't try to get away from it. I didn't try to get it to go away. And I realized even that what it's screaming at me, kill yourself, that it doesn't actually want me to kill myself. Not it, not that part. The rest of me wants to get away from it. The rest of me wants to get away from feeling suicidal. That's why people kill themselves, to get away from feeling that. But obviously the suicidal subpersonality just wants me to want to kill myself. It actually wants to feel that way because it fights for me feeling that way. And when it's trying to get me to kill myself, I found underneath what it wants is for me to be present with that, which isn't killing yourself. It's being fully present with how badly you want to. And it's just embracing that pain. So the last time I invited the screaming suicide with like arms open. Come on, let's do this. Let's make it worse. And I embraced it. And it dug its teeth in and made it worse. And it bit harder. And I said more and more and more. And the deep part of me was okay with it, even though the rest of me wasn't. And then eventually it was just satisfied. And it felt understood. And it felt loved. And this time we didn't banish it. It's like it used to be that when the screaming suicides went away, it would go away into that deep part of me that I don't just travel into, that my consciousness, my ego hasn't been to. It disappears into the dark. There's some other things that do that. But it's like it used to get banished to the dark. It was as soon as the rest of us could beat it down or run it out, we would run it off into that abyss that's beyond us. And we didn't do it this time. Like it's allowed to stay in the village if it wants. And it kind of like sleeps in back alleys and hides in the shadows instead of disappearing into the abyss. But it's not fucking with anyone right now. It's as calm as when it used to disappear into the abyss. When I'm calm, obviously there's moments I feel suicidal. That's when it acts up. But it's not coming out of the abyss and acting up. It's already in town and it's acting up. But the moments when it calms down and it's still in town, it's just as calm as when it used to disappear into the abyss. I feel it's been integrated in a way it hasn't before. Which has made me much more powerful in my own internal kingdom. Backer says, I have issued this letter for my wee one just in case something would happen to me, and my words included life tips about things that you've been talking about 5 minutes ago. I guess great minds think alike. Well, I suppose they do. All right, and thanks for saying that, because that crybaby part of me that's still whining in the background, like it's not gone, it's just stepped further from the throne room. It's kind of at the edge, like or further from the center, but it's still up in the throne room. It's useful to hear that, because apparently I said something that you took the time to write out to pass on to the next generation, which means apparently there was something of some value in this. Which is good enough for me. On that note, I'm just going to wrap it up. I don't know if I left any other threads hanging on what I said, but I'm exhausted. I've processed enough of that, and I think I should just take care of myself for the rest of tonight, except that I already know I'll check a couple messages to make sure I'm on. Yeah, I'll probably do a couple messages tonight, but don't worry, I won't overwork myself. I'll take care of myself. I'll get a good night's sleep, and tomorrow will be a bright, sunshiny day. I hope anyone who actually watched this far got something out of it. And I hope anyone else going through depression feels a little better. Accepts this blessing that I'm sending out right now to anyone who's watching this now or in the future who's suffering from depression. I have delusions such that I think my higher self can interact with other people when I'm not even aware of it. And so I'm giving permission to my holy guardian angel and my higher self. Not even just giving permission, I'm asking them that anyone who gets to this part and anyone who wants to receive some of our spiritual assistance at dealing with depression, that we can send them some loving energy. And this only goes out to anyone who wants it, and your own higher self has to agree. If your higher self's being tough with you, doesn't want you to get this, you don't get it. But anyone whose higher self allows it, I'm sending out this relief that I feel right now after depression to you. To just ease the burden a little, and you still need to learn to get through the swamp of sadness on your own. I can't take you anywhere. But what you need is just for a minute, someone to hold your hand and pull you a little bit up out of the mud so you can fucking breathe and get marching again. Then take as much of this energy as is good for you. And so on that note, blessings and lunatic love doll.